Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and do celebrity legal news. Also, join me for my pop culture chats. If you'd like to support the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. My Venmo and Cash App is below. Thank you so much, and let's get started. All right. You know how I do. Sometimes it's easier for me to go live than to try to do a video. Y'all make sure as you all come in, make sure you all hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. All right, I'm here. Can y'all hear me? If you all can hear me, put it down in the chat. Because yesterday I was talking for 15 minutes and no one told me they can hear me. So listen, so let me just get all these out the ways. Let they come to the stage as you all are coming in. I wanted to go over today because we've been covering the Tyler Robinson case that's going on in Utah. He's the one that pruned Charlie Kirk from the timeline. And so I wanted to go over the charging documents, read over those, and we'll just kind of discuss it. And here's my copyright disclaimer. I'm not going to read that. Also, the views and opinions expressed in my videos represents my own thoughts, concerns, and analysis. I don't know these folks personally or professionally, and my opinions are not a statement of fact. Y'all, they are something serious over there in Utah. But first, I wanted to put up because we're going to read this one first because it's only 2 pages, and then we'll get into the main page of the meat and potatoes. So this is the notice of intent to seek the death penalty. They are serious about seeking this death penalty. State of Utah is the plaintiff. Tyler James Robinson is the defendant. It's my understanding he is 22. The state of Utah, by and through its counsel, Jeffrey S. Gray, Utah County Attorney, and pursuant to Utah Code, hereby gives notice of its intent to seek the death penalty for count 1. And we will go over the counts. Aggravated murder as charged in the information. The decision to seek the death penalty is based on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime. And so they submitted this on the 16th day of September. And this is by the Utah County's Attorney Office, and they did a certificate of delivery. So those are those 2 pages for that. They are planning to seek to prune Tyler from the prime line as well. So now let's get into this charging document. It is 10 pages. All right. So here we are. So let's go over each one of these counts. So this is the count 1. That the aggravated murder is a capital felony in violation of Utah Code 76-5-202. In that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant Tyler James Robinson intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk. Under the following circumstances, the defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. And it says here in the notice, conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207-7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years. So he has the death penalty up to 25 years on this case. I don't know, Blue. I don't know. They said that they found his now This is just what's going on social media, because I haven't read anything in regards to that. But they were talking about DNA on the towel. They were talking about, they've got some text messages here. So I don't know. I'm gonna read this charge to see what they're charging him with. And then they have a hearing coming up on the, where's my phone? I think it's the 27th. So we will get more information on that. So it must be the 20. Yeah, this is between the 25th and the 26th. I don't know why the 26th, but they have a hearing coming up, because it doesn't even look like he has an attorney at this point. So he's going to be, he is, sorry about that, y'all. Y'all are not seeing what I'm seeing. So he has the ability to get 20, the least amount of years is 25, and then he has up to the death penalty. I'm gonna read the rest of the charges, but I think personally, what is going to happen when this dies down, whoever he gets his attorney with, they may be working on a deal to get him life without parole. So they have a victim targeting enhancement violation. That is so interesting to me, because he didn't turn himself in. He went kicking and screaming because his father turned him in. So his father called somebody who was they say a youth pastor and in law enforcement. So when they went to go see this person, they were talking. I don't know if he confessed to the officer. I really don't know what it is. All I know is he is not cooperating. He is not speaking. They say they have him on suicide watch. They're giving us a lot of stuff and then giving us nothing at the same time. But this is what has the meat and the potatoes for me. In violation of Utah Code 76-3-203-.142, Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief of perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. So they've got a targeting clause in here. And here's a notice. If the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Here's what's interesting to me, y'all. They're giving him all of these charges because I think that they believe that somebody else was part of this. I do believe that they believe that somebody else is part of this. I know people play, because people were talking about, oh, well, he made that shot. If you grew up on guns, like a lot of us have grown up on guns, you could make that shot, but that's not the point that I'm making. The planning part of it, it's what's interesting to me. Because truly, is this something that you plan in one day or an hour? You wake up and decide, oh, this man is going to be here. I don't like him. I don't like his ideologies or anything like that. I'm going to go to that, because no one has talked about seeing anything from his social media sites. They've talked about something on Discord, but he doesn't have a social media account anywhere. Not X, not Rumble, anywhere. But they don't have to give us everything. But I'm just, that the internet is always undefeated, and the internet will find all this stuff. Now, if you watch my last video, and if you watch that last live that I did, just go past up to the 16th minute mark, because I was out here talking and my mic wasn't on. And so you have about 16 minutes of nothingness. So, but just scroll up. But besides that point, they were talking about just the community that he is a part of, or that he's accused of being a part of. And I kind of went over what that community is. And that within itself is a lot to get bogged down in. And so I don't know, because that's where, to me, that they're going to pull his ideology and why he felt like why his perception, he didn't like Charlie Kirk's political expression. I think that they're going to have to go down that road, because you're going to have to pull that out. You're going to have to pull all that information out. Right. He would need, exactly, because he lives 4 hours away. You know, his family lived 4 hours away. So I think that they believe that there's somebody else assisting. And like I said, they may have asked the question and he decided to be mum's the word. But I do believe that they might be looking into something like that. Again, that's just my opinion. But let's continue. They have violent offense committed in the presence of a child. Ooh, aggravating factor. These are the add-ons. The sentencing judge or the board of parties of parole shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent criminal offense during the presence of the child. And that's why they kept saying in the news, his daughters were there, their daughters saw this. Plus, there were other children there. Don't mishear me. But I think that that's why they kept ramping that information up, because if you commit an offense in the presence of a child, that adds a little check mark or enhances that offense. So count 2 is felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. And this is a first-degree felony in violation of Utah Code 76-11-2010, 2 and 3C. And they talked about when he did that. In September 10th, 2025, in Utah County, defendant Tyler James Robinson discharged a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowing or having reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharge of the firearm, and the act caused serious body injury to the Kirk. I was flubbing right there, but this is interesting to me. So in Utah, they say the defendant Tyler James discharged a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowing or have reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharging of the firearm, and the act caused serious bodily injury to Charlie Kirk. That is interesting wording to me. I have not seen wording like that before. And then they have the victim targeting enhancement on him. And then they have the enhancement of the violent offense committed in presence of the child. So they've got 2 charges so far that they're using those 2 enhancements. And I won't reread those 2 enhancements. So then we have count 3, obstruction of justice. This is a second-degree felony in the violation of Utah Code 76-8-3062. In that, on September 10th, 2025, Tyler James Robinson, with the intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any persons regarding conduct that constitute a criminal offense, concealed or removed the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitute an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. So they're basically saying that once he used that gun, once he shot that firearm, that when he left and then he concealed that weapon, like, what was it, under a tree or somewhere in a tree or something like that, and wrapped it up, that was part of obstruction of justice. And him, let me see. With intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment. So just his criminality, just him getting away, not standing there, but just him getting away. They have tacked that obstruction of justice charge. They have count 4 of obstruction of justice. They got 2 counts of obstruction of justice, and this is for the day after. In that on or about September 11, 2025, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constituted criminal offense, destroyed, concealed, or removed the clothing he wore during the shooting. And the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Count 5, tampering with the witness. And this is Utah Code 76-8-508. In that on or about September 10th, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, A, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and B, attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, a document, or an item, to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. Count 6, tampering with the witness, a third-degree felony in violation of the same code. In that on or about September 11th, defendant Tyler James Robinson believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, to wit, directing his roommate to stay silent if the police questioned the roommate. Count 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor in violation of Utah Code 76-3-203-10-2 and 76-3-203.143A2. In that on or about September 10th, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, committed a criminal homicide in the physical presence of a child younger than 14 years old, with knowledge that a child was present and may have seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. And that's victim targeting enhancement is on that particular code as well. So here's the probable cause statement. So we're going to read that. Now, it's my understanding that there are some text messages in here, a whole lot of different things, and we are definitely going to read those things. All right, so here is my trigger warning. I have to probably change it to add a thing, but this live scene will be reviewing information in regards to a criminal homicide. If this is something that makes you queasy, I am going to give you the opportunity to log off. And here we go. Here's our log off timer. If that's going to make you queasy, because I believe that they're going to be talking about some queasy stuff. So hold on. All right. Let's get into this. Let's get into it. Hey, Sam. I don't pity empathy. I don't support ignorance with this situation. I think you speak for a lot of folks, because this is way too much. This is way too much. If you really want to know the truth about it. But people live and die by their words. All right, so here we go. We're going to read the probable cause statement. Brian Davis of the Utah State Board of Investigation, having probable cause to believe that the defendant committed the above listed offense, submitted the following evidence in support of the filing of this information. So, Blue, we're going to hear what they have so far. On September 10th, at approximately 12:23 p.m., Charlie Kirk was pew-pewed and pruned from the timeline while speaking to a large crowd on the campus of Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action .30-06 rifle, nearby. Over the next approximately 33 hours, police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until the evening of September 11, 2025, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered to police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun, this is count 3, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, count 4, and told his lover roommate to delete the incriminating text messages and not to talk to the police, count 5. Children were present at the time of the shooting, count 7. This is what they got. This is what they got. Turning Point USA, a nonprofit organization founded in 2012 by Charlie Kirk, organized a public outdoor event to be held at noon on September 10, 2025 at UVU. The event was the first in a series of similar events to be held at college campuses nationwide. Excuse me. Mr. Kirk is a well-known conservative activist, famous for these types of events where he discusses various political issues and debates with audience members. His events and comments have garnered a significant number of supporters and drawn the ire of many who disagree with his political views. The event at UAV was announced far in advance and garnered significant public publicity and interest. Consequently, several hundred people attended. Mr. Kirk was interacting with the crowd before the event officially got underway. Then, approximately at noon, Mr. Kirk seated himself under a portable canopy behind a table and a microphone. He began speaking to the crowd, fielding questions from attendees, a format Mr. Kirk commonly used at his events. Mr. Kirk allowed his questioners to approach the microphone positioned directly in front of him. Mr. Kirk's team members were very close to him on his right and left, as well as some behind his canopy and others at various close locations near him. Okay, let me read. The large crowd surrounded Mr. Kirk on 3 sides. Temporary metal fencing separated attendees from Mr. Kirk by only a matter of feet. Directly above and behind Mr. Kirk was the UVH Hall of Flags, an indoor walkway spanning several hundred feet with floor-to-ceiling glass windows which overlooked the plaza where Mr. Kirk was seated. People were in the walkway at the time of the shooting. So that tells me, if that's the angle that, because there were some pictures that we saw earlier of this angle. And my question, I have 2 questions. He has security. Were they not spanning the tops of the buildings? And number 2, there were people up there. Did no one see anybody shooting? I remember seeing somebody doing a phone video, but he was walking towards the event, and he saw that. So this is going to be interesting. Approximately 15 minutes into the event, Mr. Kirk was answering a question about mass shootings by transgender individual when a gunshot rang out. The bullet struck Mr. Kirk in the neck. So they're saying that the bullet struck him in the neck. It did not hit his, because there were some theories that it hit his chest, and he had a bulletproof vest on, and the round ricocheted upwards. He slumped to the ground almost immediately. The bullet's trajectory passed closely to several other individuals besides Mr. Kirk, including the questioner who was standing directly in front of Mr. Kirk's children. Mr. Kirk. Children were visible near Mr. Kirk's stage when he was pruned. Mr. Kirk was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was declared deceased. The medical examiner's report is pending. So let's do the UVU surveillance investigation. At the moment of the shot, UVU police officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, he looked for potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed in and looked for evidence. The suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop off the roof only slightly below. The UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings on the gravel rooftop consistent with a sniper having lain on the roof, impressions in the gravel potentially left by elbows, knees, and feet of a person in a prone shooting position. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and drop into the roof approximately 12:15. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped into a prone shooting position. After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. This discovery led to an intensive review of UVU surveillance recordings to attempt to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. Now, who said this, Sam? Is this what Charlie Kirk said about Canada? At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black shirt with an American flag at its center, a dark baseball cap, and large sunglasses. Throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down and rarely raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face. Interesting. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with very little bending in his right leg, consistent with a rifle being hidden in his pants. This unusual gait continues until the suspect is seen crossing the railing off the open walkway and onto the roof where he leaves the camera's view. A camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof carrying an item whose shape is consistent with a rifle. The suspect is then seen climbing down from the roof. He appears to drop the item he was carrying as he hits the ground in a controlled fall. He then picks up the item and runs towards the northeast end of campus. So here's their expanded crime scene investigation. Law enforcement officers followed the suspect's escape path to the northeast end of the campus, where they believe the suspect left campus and entered a wooded area. In that wooded area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained 1 spent round and 3 unspent rounds. This is consistent with the facts officers observed at the time and immediately after the shooting. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an auto-loading weapon, and only a single round was fired. So it says here, each round on the rifle contained an etched inscription as follows: fired cartridge, notices bulge, ooh woo, what's this? Second cartridge, hey fascist catch, arrow symbols. Third cartridge, oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow. That's a lot on a cartridge. Fourth cartridge, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. Now we find out that these phrases and things like that are tied in people who are groypers, and they're also tied into the is it black pill community? Don't get that. Let me hush because I don't know if I'm saying all of this correctly, but we know that these phrases are tied into all of that. So let's continue. The rifle, ammunition rounds, and towel were sent for forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger, other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casings, 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and the towel. Law enforcement was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published photos of the shooter from the UVU surveillance cameras and asked for the public's help to identify him. Meanwhile, law enforcement continued to try to identify the shooter through other means. The Washington County investigation. On the evening of September 11, 2025, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler James Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. Robinson's mother stated the following to the police. On September 11, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news, and she thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been at home sick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle the police suspected the shooter matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained that there was too much evil and the guy Charlie Kirk spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to the police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. Did he live with the folks? They said he had a roommate, so the roommate was living in the house with them? I'm confused. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he had did. Robinson implied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. Now let's get to the roommate. The police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to police. On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing and look up under my keyboard." The roommate looked up under the keyboard and found a note that stated, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange took place. So let's see what they were talking about, these two. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I'm still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret until I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you." Roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, "I am. I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Why? Robinson, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they've already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Robinson, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back my grandpa's rifle." Oh, so this was passed down to him. Is that a deck? IDK? IDEK? If it had a serial number, I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I have to leave it in a bush where I change outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Well, baby, you wanted to be caught because you had enough time to run. If you had a book bag or something, to put it in a book bag and keep it moving. But you wanted to be caught. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UW on Fox News, I might have a stroke, all right? I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa Gunn does just fine. I don't care. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. And then they say Robinson deleted an exchange. Child. Robinson. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He said Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff's office, for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. And so they searched his residence. Police executed a search warrant on Robinson's residence. During the search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU. Police also found several targets with bullet holes in Robinson's home. So again, they're going over the counts. Aggravated murder pertaining to Robinson shooting and killing Charlie Kirk in a manner that exposed others, in addition to Mr. Kirk, a great risk of death. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm pertains to Robinson shooting towards Mr. Kirk, knowing that doing so would endanger those in the bullet's path. The shot caused serious bodily injury to Mr. Kirk, ultimately resulting in his death. Count 3, obstructing justice pertains to Robinson removing and hiding the rifle he used to shoot Mr. Kirk. Count 4, obstructing justice pertains to Robinson removing and hiding the clothing he wore when he shot Mr. Kirk. Count 5, witness tampering pertains to Robinson's statement to his roommate, telling his roommate to delete their text message exchange that followed the shooting. Count 6, witness tampering pertains to Robinson's statement to his roommate, telling the roommate that if any police to ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. That's sound legal advice. Count 7, violence offense committed in the presence of a child pertains to Robinson's shooting of Mr. Kirk in the presence of children under the age of 14 who were visible at the event. Based upon the evidence received from Brian Davis at the Utah State Bureau of Investigation, I have reason to believe that the defendant committed the offenses as charged herein. Authorized for presentment and filing on September 16th, 2025. Here we are at the Utah County Attorney's Office, and it was sworn by Utah County Attorney Jeffrey S. Gray. So this is what they have on Mr. Tyler Robinson. He did go to the police department, and once he got there, he decided that he wasn't going to cooperate any further. So this is all the information, and this is what they have on him. And they are seeking, as I read that first document that I read, they are seeking the death penalty. Here in this document right here, state's notice to seek the death penalty. But we will see what will happen. You know that Utah is going to want to make a go to it. I don't know if Utah allows for their court hearings to be televised. Hold on. Where was that Daybell lady? Okay, that was in Idaho. But I thought somebody was okay, so they had okay. So I'm sorry. I was just looking up that there was a trial up in but it was in Idaho and Arizona. I don't know why I thought it was in Utah. I think he lived in Utah at one time, but that's not where the infractions occurred. So I don't know if Utah will televise this. Because of the case and because of the high profile of it, they probably will. When they will have this case, I would say it'll start in probably about 6 months. Because, it's not to say that it's Utah. They should be getting all this stuff together in 6 months. So we probably will see this case January or February coming along. And if they put it out, I will cover it. But I assume that there's negotiations behind the scene. If Tyler has his lawyer present, they're probably going to do negotiation and do a plea. And if they do a plea, he'll probably get life without parole. The FBI was there, and I don't know if they were just lending a hand or were they going to be filing charges. I haven't figured out what charges that they would possibly file for Tyler Robinson. Would it be a civil rights violation? But they don't believe in civil rights, so what don't know what they would do. He was on a college campus, and if that college campus received federal dollars, maybe they will finagle a charge in regards to that. I don't know. The big beautiful bill cut a lot of funding. So yeah, this is what they're charging Tyler James Robinson with. You can again go to my last live. It talks about all the information I pulled because I went down a rabbit hole. I had to say no mas because that rabbit hole was deep. I promise. It goes down to a lot of stuff. Apparently, the unofficial leader of the Groypers, who is Nick Fuentes, at this point he is probably lawyering up and keeping quiet, because he's made some incendiary statements on his podcast that I know that the police or at least the FBI is going to be looking into, simply because he made some statement, and I'm paraphrasing, that he had infiltrated Turning Point. So he had people in Turning Point working for him. That's what that is that is the way that I've interpreted the information that he was ranting and raving about when I looked at that clip of his video. So that is all the information that we have at this point. I may do one more, but it'll probably be on the weekend. I may just do like a big overview, because this relationship with his roommate, I really want to do one that I really get a good do some good research. And then, because the video that I did yesterday, I pulled a lot of TikToks and allowed for those people to talk. This one I want to be able to get together and do and pull up a good research that we can kind of discuss it. I may do a panel. I'm not sure. So we'll see. We will see. All right, people. That's it. Thank you so much for joining. Y'all please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Told the roommate not to say nothing. Was that good sound advice, or was he obstructing justice? Y'all let me know down in the comments.